All right, let's jump straight into this completely wild reality for today's explainer. Congratulations, you are officially the richest human to ever live on planet Earth. You're a trillionaire. I mean, to put that in perspective right out of the gate, you're now worth more than 4 Jeff Bezoses combined. The whole shebang is quite literally in the palm of your hand. But as we're going to explore today, having the world in your hand might just mean you can never actually touch it again.
Now, to actually wrap our heads around this staggering scale, because honestly, human brains are just not wired for numbers this massive, let's look at the pure math. Think about this. If you decided to spend $1 million every single day, literally waking up and blowing $1 million before you went to sleep, you would not go broke for another 2,700 years. Let that sink in. If you started doing this back at the height of the Roman Empire, you'd still be a billionaire today. Insane, right?
So, say your old Honda Civic just isn't cutting it anymore, and you decide, hey, I'm going to buy a Bugatti. But you don't just buy a Bugatti. You buy the entire Bugatti company for $2 billion. For you, a trillionaire, $2 billion is just a 0.2% rounding error. It is the exact mathematical equivalent of someone making $100,000 a year going out and buying a $200 winter jacket. To your accountants, buying a historic, world-renowned automotive empire is literally just pocket change.
But, here's where this whole fantasy kind of hits a brick wall. You are now the most famous person on Earth, and everybody knows exactly what you're worth. Your old apartment building is immediately swarmed with paparazzi. You need security, and 2 guys in suits, yeah, that's not going to cut it anymore. You need a 12-operator, heavily armed detail running on 24-hour rotating shifts, literally the exact kind of security usually reserved for sitting presidents. You also need a new house. So you drop $200 million on a 14-acre compound hidden behind massive walls and iron gates where you can't even see the main house from the road. And to keep a fortress like this running, you suddenly find yourself employing a staggering 63-person staff in your very first month. We're talking chefs, housekeepers, IT guys dedicated just to your security systems, and an assistant who actually has her own assistant.
And here's the crazy part. Since your massive wealth is just sitting in investments, it's making money way faster than you could ever possibly spend it. You wake up tens of millions of dollars richer every single day without lifting a finger. So, out of sheer literal boredom, you start buying astronomical toys just because you can. A $400 million Boeing 747, gutted and turned into a flying mansion. A private island in the South Pacific? Done. A $600 million mega yacht, fully equipped with a helipad, a medical bay, and a submarine bay? Why not? You literally have absolutely everything money can buy.
But here is the ultimate catch. You have everything, sure, but your basic human routines are completely gone. Let's say you just want to grab a cup of coffee from that local spot you've loved for years. Well, now your security detail requires 45 minutes of advance notice just to clear the route and secure the perimeter. When you finally walk through the door, the entire coffee shop goes dead silent. The barista's hands are visibly shaking as they pour your drink. Somebody in the corner is secretly filming you from behind their laptop. The coffee tastes exactly the same as it always did, but the whole experience is fundamentally broken. So you just stop going. Actually, scratch that. You stop doing normal things altogether.
Now, obviously, you want to use this immense power for good, right? You see a crisis on the news, and you write a massive $500 million check for disaster relief. $500 million. It's an incredible life-changing gesture for the people involved, but the media only covers it for about half a news cycle. Why? Because the public quickly realizes that, relative to your trillion-dollar fortune, $500 million is literally just what you make in a slow week. People are super grateful for exactly one day, and then the vibe just shifts. They expect more. And it's not just the public wanting more, it's people actively trying to take it from you. The legal system quickly turns into a toll road for the deepest pockets on Earth. Just in your first 6 months, you get hit with 17 different lawsuits. An old business partner suddenly claims you shorted him on a deal nearly a decade ago. A woman in Arizona swears you promised her $10 million at a fundraiser, even though you've literally never stepped foot in Arizona. Your lawyers tell you to get really used to the word frivolous because people are more than willing to flat-out fabricate a lie in a courtroom if it means a shot at your treasury.
Fighting all these battles isn't cheap, even when you are entirely in the right and the claims are absolute garbage. Your annual legal budget quickly blows past the $40 million mark. You've got an entire floor of a massive law firm working exclusively on your cases, and here's the absolute most frustrating part of it all. You actually end up settling a lot of these completely fake claims for millions of dollars, simply because fighting them in the public eye costs you more in PR damage and legal fees than just quietly writing the check and making them go away.
Now just imagine trying to do something as human and vulnerable as dating. You meet a great girl, she's funny, sharp, treats you like a normal person. But by week 3, the paranoia really creeps in. She casually mentions your pilot's first name or a specific classic car you love, these tiny details that prove she definitely researched you before you even met. Suddenly, you have to ask yourself, does she actually like you? Or does she just like the 747 and the exclusive access? And before you can even figure that out, a waiter at a restaurant sells a blurry photo of the two of you to a tabloid. Just like that, her completely normal private life is erased forever. Strangers are messaging her, threatening her, digging into her past. You essentially ruined her life just by sitting across from her at dinner.
And you know, the betrayal doesn't stop with strangers. It gets much, much worse. A former friend from your past decides to cash in on your fame. They sell a story to a magazine. Just a dumb, harmless joke you made at a dorm room party 15 years ago. But when they strip away the context and slap it across a sensational headline, it makes you look terrible. Your crisis PR team estimates that this former friend got paid about $250,000 for that story. $250,000. That is the exact price tag someone put on your past friendship. And as always, your PR team tells you to stay completely silent because responding is only going to throw gasoline on the fire.
So the reality is, this level of money inevitably infects absolutely everything, especially your family. You find out your brother is struggling. He's behind on his mortgage, his car needs work. You have more money than several countries combined, so naturally, you quietly wire him a few $1,000,000 to help out. Seems like the right move, right? But instead of fixing things, it completely shatters the relationship. At the next family dinner, which you're hosting on your private 747, he won't even look at you, just stares at his plate and bails before dessert. A week later, your mom calls, just quietly devastated, to tell you your brother told a cousin that you ruined the family. The immense gravity of your wealth has created this massive gap, and you just can't close it with an apology or a normal conversation anymore.
You retreat back to your compound, leaning heavily on the comfort of your 63-person staff who keep the whole machine running perfectly. But even your ultimate sanctuary is eventually compromised. Your security team discovers a consistent leak to a gossip column. They actually track the metadata of a leaked photo back to a highly specific window in the east wing of your compound. Within 2 days, they nail the culprit. It's Linda, a trusted housekeeper. You watch from a second-floor window on a random Wednesday morning as she gets coldly escorted off the property by security, carrying a little cardboard box. She doesn't even look up. The gates close, and by Friday, she's entirely replaced. All this relentless isolation really peaks in the quietest hours of the night. Picture yourself at 3 a.m. You can't sleep in your massive master suite. You wander through the dead silent compound past your empty 60-seat movie theater, past the massive library. And the only sound is the mechanical hum of security cameras tracking your every single step. You walk outside onto the wet grass and just look up at the sky. It's the exact same sky, the exact same stars you used to stare at from the roof of your old, rundown apartment building. Back then, the rent was late and you didn't even care. The stars haven't moved an inch, but absolutely everything underneath them has changed forever.
Eventually, you go back inside. The next day, you return to your office, sitting behind 7 glowing screens, tracking your limitless portfolio and companies. Outside your window, the security detail does a shift change. The groundskeeper mows the pristine lawn. Over 60 people are working inside this incredibly fine-tuned machine of a compound, just buzzing around constantly to cater to your every need. Yet you are the only one who actually lives here. You are completely surrounded by people on your payroll, and somehow, you are suffocatingly alone. The numbers on the screen are infinite, for sure, but your human connections have essentially been zeroed out. When ultimate financial freedom quietly transforms into your ultimate emotional imprisonment, we really have to ask ourselves, is the fantasy of having $1 trillion actually worth the cost of losing your entire world?